Okay, so in 9.5, we talked about surface area of different three-dimensional figures. There's a lot of information in this unit, isn't there, guys? I know, I'm sorry. Today we're going to talk about finding volume. I find that volume's a little bit easier than surface area. However, there's not one general volume formula for every single prism, okay? Because prisms differ depending on what the base is. So it could be a triangular base, and then we multiply it by the height. So essentially what you're doing is, when you're finding volume, you're finding how much can fit in it, right? So here's a prism. This is a rectangular prism because the bottom is a rectangle. So what you're doing is you're just finding a whole bunch of layers of area is all volume is. How much area it takes on the bottom, how much area it takes on the next level, and the next level, and the next level. So all you're doing in all these cases is you're finding the area of the bottom, and then you're multiplying it by the top, or the height, okay? But the problem is that prisms are rectangular base, a triangular base, a pentagonal base, an octagonal base, right? So you have to be able to find the area of any base and then multiply it by its height. So that is the volume for a prism. It's the area of the base. So capital B means area of base. And then you multiply it by the height. So if you need to write this, anytime you see a capital B, that means area of base. So like here, what is the base on this prism specifically? What shape is that? It's a hexagon. Who remembers from earlier in this unit, I think it was the second section, how do you find area of a hexagon, or area of an octagon, or area of a pentagon? Because it's all the same formula. Yes, so apothem times perimeter divided by 2. That is area of a polygon. Now, if you have a rectangular base, do you know how to find area of a rectangle? What is the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So you don't need to use this. You could, but it would make it a lot more difficult. If you had a triangle down there, how do you find area of a triangle? Base times height, divide by 2, or times a half, okay? So you're finding the area of the bottom, and then you're multiplying it by its height, how many levels it has. Now a cylinder's a little different. Cylinder will be the same for every type of cylinder because the cylinder base doesn't change. What is the base of a cylinder? How do you find area of a circle? Pi r squared. And just like a prism, I would have to multiply that by what? Times height. And that one never changes, okay? It's essentially the same formula as this, right? Area of the base times the height. Well, this base happens to be pi r squared, and then you multiply it by its height. Okay, A. Here's a quadrilateral. What kind of quadrilateral base is this? It's a trapezoid. So the base is a trapezoid, and what's its height on this? The height of the trapezoid is 4. What's the height of the figure? 6. So we know we're going to do something times 6 because that's its height. Does anyone remember how to find area of a trapezoid? Yes. Base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, right, times the height. So what's my base 1 here? It doesn't really matter. We're talking about the trapezoid, though. 5. We'll go with 5. 5 plus 9 divided by times. So do that whole thing. And then that would find the area of the base and then multiply it by its height, which is 6. So what's 5 plus 9? You don't need a calculator. Divide by 2 times 4. So really you're doing 28 times 6 if you want a calculator now. But you should come to the point where you can start doing that in your head, maybe. How much? 168 centimeters. Who knows what my units are on this? Centimeters what? Cubed. Okay, I want you to try B on your own. Okay, What do I do on this? What's the formula I need to plug into my calculator? Pi times 9. Where do you get 9? Because I don't see 9 anywhere here. Yeah. Times what? So this would be 63 pi. Or if you multiply it through by pi, what do we get? Go to the nearest hundredth. Do you guys agree? 0.92? Oh, sorry. Yeah, that would make more sense. 197.92. Do you guys agree with that? And that is meters cubed. Okay, the next two, it says given the figure's volume, solve for the indicated measure. I want you to try this on your own first. Be careful on this one. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to see how far you can get on it. My pretty pens go. Okay, so let's try the second one. I know that the volume is equal to 72 pi. What do I not know in this problem? The radius. But we know that pi times r squared times 2 should equal that. Is that correct? So I could divide by 2 pi, and I get r squared equals how much? 36. The pi's cancel, right? And 72 divided by 2 is 36. How do I get r squared down to just an r? Square root, r equals a positive and negative 6. But does it make sense to have a negative distance in radius? So r equals 6 centimeters. Okay. Oh, there's my pretty pens. Okay. So next, let's go back over here. The volume of this is equal to 360. And how I find the volume on this guy is finding the area of the base times its height. What is the shape of the base here? A right triangle. How do you find area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. Now, on a triangle, your base and your height have to come together to make a what? Right angle. So if I'm looking at this, do I use this 17 in finding the area? No. I need this guy and I need this guy. They gave me one of those. Which one did they give me? They gave me 8. But they have not given me this, and I need this. How do I find that? Good job, guys. A squared plus 8 squared equals 17 squared. So on my calculator, I always just do 17 squared minus 8 squared, and it gives me an answer. I think it was 225. So a squared equals 225. So what's A's value? There we go. So this is 15. Now can I find the area of the base? Okay, what do I do? And then to that, in this formula, what do I do? Multiply it by its height, h or x. Okay, what is 8 times 15 divided by 2? So it's 60x equals 360. So divide both sides by 60. What does x equal? Oops, not 60, but 6 feet, right? Any questions on that? All right, good job. Next page. Volume of pyramids and cones. It's kind of similar, pyramids and cones, and it's kind of similar to what we did before. So what do you think we start with on a pyramid? So area of the base. So capital B. Then what do you think I do to it? Times regular height. Times what? Close. Because you would think this comes up to a point, so it's not going to take up that whole cylinder, right? It's going to maybe take up a half. It doesn't take up a half. It actually takes up a third. So you divide by 3 or multiply by a third. Okay. So essentially, if I had a pentagonal prism here and a pentagonal pyramid, and they were both the same height and so same width and everything else, if I put water into the pyramid and I dumped it into the prism, how many times would it take me to dump it in? 3, and it would be exactly equal after 3 times. Okay. Cone is similar. Pi r squared. You missed one small thing. Times height, then divide by 3. Aditya, just go ahead and watch the rest of the video, and then it'll tell you what your homework is at the end of the video. Okay, so let's do 3A together. This is a pentagonal base. How do I find area of a base of a polygon? Apothem times perimeter divided by 2, and then you're going to multiply that by its height, and then divide that whole thing by 3, okay? So, what is your apothem here? 6. Your apothem is 3. What is your perimeter on this guy? Yep, because it's a regular guy. You're going to divide that by 2. You're going to multiply that by its height. What's the height of the figure? And then that whole thing is going to be divided by 3, right? Go ahead and what's 3 times 25? Who knows what 75, half of 75 is off the top of their head? 37.5. So do 37.5 times 73, press enter, and then divide that by 3. What do you guys get? Yep, and this would be feet cubed. Let's do B together. Oh, what did they not give us? They didn't give us the radius, right? But they're telling us what kind of triangle is that? 30, 60, 90. So we're going from the medium side to the short side. So I could use SOHCAHTOA, but if you remember your 30, 60, 90 triangles, I could use that. How do you get from the medium side to the short side? Yep, divide by square root of 3. I need to rationalize the denominator when I do that. So I get 18 square roots of 3 over 3. 18 divided by 3 is what? So my radius is 6 square roots of 3. So I'm going to do pi times parentheses 6 square roots of 3, parentheses squared, times its height of 18, all that divided by 3. Now, you have to be careful when you put this into your calculator, the 6 square roots of 3 squared, because I think your calculator adds a parenthesis, so you would need to add 2 after it. Okay? Or do that part separately and turn it into a decimal if you want. Should give you a whole number if you keep the whole decimal in there once you square it. What do you get for an answer? The answer itself, the entire answer is not a whole number, it is a decimal. Round it to the nearest hundredth. That is correct. If you didn't get that, I would assume that whenever you're entering in all the numbers at some point, you didn't mathematically do it correctly and didn't follow the parentheses, so you may want to try it again whenever we're done with notes. Okay. Solve for what they're missing. I want you guys to try this real quick on your own. Base times height of the base times the height of the figure divided by 3 equals 64. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 64 and I get 32x equals, what is that? 6, 12, 18, 192, right? Hopefully. Divide by 32, what do you get for x? 6? 6 inches. Awesome. Here, pi r squared. So pi x squared times height, all that divided by 3. Equals 147. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3 first. So I get pi x squared times 9 equals, what's 147 times 3, someone? Awesome. Thank you. Oh, crap. Yep. So that's 441 pi. Thank you. Divided by 9 pi. Divide by 9 pi. Pi's cancel. What's 441 divided by 9? Oh, awesome. They gave us an easy number. X squared equals 49, so what does x equal? And positive 7 only, because the negative 7 doesn't make sense as an answer. Are we okay with this, guys? Okay. Homework, please listen. Yes, let me take it in 1 second. Let me tell you what homework is, because I'm recording. Homework is the next Homework is page 10 in your supplemental, and then there are going to be 2 Schoology assignments, 9-1 and 9-2, for you to complete.